Hello and welcome to Traditional Painting the Digital Way. This is where I use digital painting apps to teach traditional painting techniques. In this video, we're going to be doing some more on the Hudson River School painting, and I'm going to go ahead and show the sky, how to do the sky. So the app that we're using is Infinite Painter for Android, and if you want to follow along traditionally, check out part 1 in this series, where I have a list of all the paint and canvas and brushes that I use. So here I'm using the Pollock brush to make some trees, the background trees, and these are actually the middle ground trees, and they're going to be closer to the viewer's eye, so they're going to have a little bit more intensity to their color. So I've added kind of a rusty orange color and a faded, dusty green look to these middle ground trees. And if you're following along traditionally, you can use cadmium orange with some burnt sienna would probably be the best, just a little bit. And then if you're using green, some Hooker's green with dioxazine purple and some white acrylic gesso will make a kind of a dusty green look. And here I'm adding a little bit of some darker colors to the bushes and also some yellow. You want a little bit of the yellow look on there as well. And you can use yellow ochre for that because it won't be a real bright yellow. So you want some yellow ochre and maybe some burnt umber if you're following along traditionally. And you want to go ahead and just kind of smudge these together. And I use the Pollock brush for my bushes mostly, all the time. So, and then here I wanted to add a little bit more orange look to the trees in the background. You can see in the photo reference that the light shines on them. And I wanted to add kind of a line to the bottom of the trees to make a water line, and then put some of that color of the trees into the water. So you would use that rusty color and that green color and just make the corresponding reflection into the water under the trees, because that's going to give it the depth look, and it's going to show that that's water and make it look really wet, I guess is the best way I could describe it. That's what makes your water look wet, is putting in reflections, putting in all the colors of the sky, just adding all those little details that gives it a really realistic look. And you want to make sure that you follow the right sizes. And so here I'm also putting in some of the brush in the middle ground and adding a little bit of some color to the water. And I was using the air brushes. You can use that to sort of glaze over your reflection in the back. And if you're following along traditionally, you can take a real thin white acrylic gesso mixture and just kind of glaze over the reflections in the back, and that will give it kind of a faded look and make it look more like water as well. And then I'm doing that with the trees in the middle ground. Same colors that you use, same kind of brush, adding in the yellows, the oranges, the green colors, and just kind of putting that in the water to give that the reflection there. And I'm trying to follow the same shapes that I've got of the trees there. And I wanted to go ahead and add the shoreline then and the shoreline is going to be darker. So you want to go ahead and add in a little bit of a darker brown of some sort there, and then add a water line between the reflection and the shore itself, and you can use that with a white line or a darker line. And so I'm just kind of working on that, and then I want to go ahead and add the foreground shoreline here. And it's kind of rocky, but I didn't want to make it look like that is just all that it is rocks. I wanted to kind of give it like it's got some mud and some dirt and things, so I didn't quite make it look as rocky as the photo reference, and that's it. You know, you can do whatever you want to with your painting. You don't have to follow the photo reference. It's just there to give you some guidelines and help you get proportions and things to look right, but you don't have to do it exactly like the photograph. In fact, don't, because there's a lot of things in the photograph you need to leave out in order to make a good painting. You don't want every little detail, because that will take away from the painting sometimes. And so here I'm drawing the dark line that will show the shoreline here. And you can use burnt umber or burnt sienna if you're following along traditionally, and just make kind of a jagged, broken line. You don't want a straight line, because this is it's dirt and trees, and it's not a man-made structure. It's natural, and it's a nature type structure. And so then you want to go ahead and do that with the middle ground trees, and also add some into the foreground shore right here. And I'm just trying to kind of make a broken line to show that it looks like there's rocks, there's dirt, there's trees, sticks, you know, from the trees and things like that. And you want it to go across the top of your reflection, because then it separates the real object from its reflection. And then I wanted to add a little bit of some more darker brown into the trees to kind of give them contrast. Because one of the things about the Hudson River School painters is that there was lots of contrast in their paintings. If you look at Bierstadt and Thomas Cole and Moran, they had a big contrast between the shadows and the light. They would show the sunset, and then they would show the dark shadows. And that just kind of makes your painting pop out, because it doesn't look pale and pastel then. It gives it a punch, and it gives it, well, it gets it interest to your painting, and that's what you want. You want this contrast. Painting is all about edges and contrast and dark and light, and so this is kind of what you want to show in your painting here. So this is what I'm trying to add to the trees, sort of a darker purplish brown color. And if you're following along traditionally, you can do burnt sienna with purple, just something that kind of gives it a darker brown color, so that you can get a good contrast for the viewer's eye. And so that's kind of what I'm working on here, just trying to get that look. And then I added a little bit more orange into the background, to the background trees, to get the look of the sun shining on them. But you don't want to kill all your dark. You want the contrast of the dark and the light. Just like you do in the clouds with these trees, you need the contrast as well. And so that's what I'm working on. And then I wanted to do the ripples in the water and add a little bit of a grayish green look, because that's what's in the foreground of the water here. It's darker because it's reflecting off of the shore right here in the front. So you're kind of getting the shadow and the color of the foreground shore here, so it's going to be darker than the water that's near the horizon. So this is what I'm working on, trying to get that grayish look and pulling it a little bit across the top of the reflection of the trees. And so I went ahead and added that across there to make it look like ripples, because it's a still water, yet it still moves a little bit too. And so you want little bitty ripples that go across, and you can add little smudges of dark lines and white lines to kind of show that. So this is the end of part 3 in the Hudson River School series. And if you want to see how to finish out the painting, check out part 4, hit the subscribe button. And thanks everybody for watching. Thank you so much for your support. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments down below, and I will catch you later.